This is my RTRC RTA V2. I had this last year. I spent 4 months driving this car, and I actually sold this one last year in August. Then I bought it back last month, and it actually wasn't ever used, so I still had my setup on it from last year. But I did change the layout of the electronics. Before I had the speed control here. Now I have it under the damper plate. And my old setup, I had the A11, those thicker servo. And now I'm using the Reflex Racing servo. Also the servo, I put 1mm shim in the front, so I can have the servo arm pretty straight as opposed to it being on an angle, because it's causing binding when I had it on an angle. So that's pretty straight. And I am running different non-RTRC parts on this car that I got from OBRC. I'll have the link in the description. This car, currently I have the 2500 rocket motor for our 2500 spec, and I took it out yesterday. The fast lap yesterday with my race car is 7:32. This one in under 50 laps, I was able to hit 7:33. Same consistent lap times at 7:4, 7:5, and the same fast laps at 7:3, low 7:3s. Right now the car is really good. I can hit fast lap. It goes straight, and it's very consistent. The only problem I have right now is that the car has a lot of steering off power and on throttle that the back end can keep up. It feels, when you're driving the car, it feels like the rear end is very light. And I also noticed that the steering on my radio and the throttle doesn't have the same resolution compared to my other car, which is the RX-28. And it has something to do with the settings for the throttle. It has something to do with the speed control settings. I don't think I calibrated it, and I did now, but I haven't put it on the track. But yesterday on the track, I didn't calibrate the speed control, and I also didn't use my speed control setup. So now, with you using the programmer, now with the speed control for this car is the exact same model as the RX-28, and also the settings are identical. This way, when I transition from the RX-28 to this car, is going to feel the same with the throttle range. And for the steering, right now I put the stiffer springs up front and softer springs in the back, because yesterday it feels like every time I would let off the throttle a little bit, the car would shift all the weight towards the front. It's very it feels very aggressive in the steering, and the back end, it's not balanced. It's rotating a lot. So I put the stiffer springs in the front and softer springs in the back, just to I just feel like the front is diving too much, and I removed the spring. I don't know what the spring here is for. And if you change the spring here, you can't really, I can't tell the difference. So I pretty much just lock that out, and I have 0.2 millimeter droop in the back and 0.5 in the front. Yes, I have a droop limiter here from OBRC. So I'm able to put 0.5, and it's really, really good yesterday. This car doesn't roll too much as it did before when I had it with my old setup. Also, this one is running the OBRC 3D printed center pivot, the damper plate mount. with the side springs outside. This is something I wanted last year, but I didn't get around doing. By doing this, I was able to remove 4 grams of weight on top from this mount and the arms that holds the battery. Right now, this battery is double-sided tape on, so it's in there pretty good. I still need to figure something out on how I can just slide the battery in, but I have other cars to play, so I don't mind charging it while I wait. So for now, it's double-sided on this battery, and I did shave 4 grams of weight that were on the top of this car, like the arms and the weight of this damper, the center pivot mount. And also, I now have more corner speed because it has less body roll from the side springs. I am using the Reflex Racing spring perch and the Reflex Racing silver white springs and brass chassis, aluminum plate. Right now the car is working. It's actually working good. I just need to figure out the throttle resolution and the steering. Right now I did the changes already, so we'll see how that's going to work on the track on Friday when I visit the track. But yeah, I was expecting it to be better, and it is better compared to my old setup before. Before, this car was always 2/10 slower than my RX-28. But now on my first run, I was actually able to match my fast lap on that car, and that's pretty good. But still, the RX-28, I feel like I have full control on the car. Like the car just listens to every input that I put on my radio. That's what I really like about that Reflex Racing RX-28. And I think it's the resolution from the throttle range. When I let off a little bit, this one gets acts a little aggressive, and also the steering. So once I figure that out, I should be able to get this car running similar to the RX-28. I'm not gonna compare the two on which one is faster, because this is just like a side project that I'm working on. I pretty much have nothing to do, so and the track's not always open, so I can't just show up and play. So at least I have something to work on when I'm not on the track. And I did try other cars, other brand cars, and this year, since beginning of the year, I've been trying to find another car to work on. I just couldn't get the other cars to work the way I want it to work. It's way off from the Reflex Racing, and that car is just so good. The RX-28 is just so good. This would be the closest car to that car. This is actually the second car from Reflex Racing. So because I spent 4 months on this car, I figured I should just go ahead and put whatever it is that I thought of last year to this car. So yeah, this is the car. Maybe I can talk about the setup. The servo, I put it in the lowest position, so low center gravity. I removed the speed control here. Before, the speed control was on here and the receiver was on top. Now I moved it in the back. Even with the weight in the back, there's still a lot of steering, because look at the front of the car. When I push down on the front bumper, look, the camber is active and the toe is active. It toes in. So even if I have 4 degrees toe out, when I slow down into the corner, making this turn, look at the outside wheel. It goes in. So that is kind of unique to this car. So you get steering with this car, right? So when you get on the throttle, full throttle, it's stable on the straightaway. When you slow down and make that sweeper, you get more steering coming in. So now the thing right now that I'm working on is that the back end can keep up with the front. Now I have a lot of steering, and because the car doesn't dip anymore like it used to due to that outside spring. It doesn't dip anymore, but because of because of that side spring, it now feels a little stiff on the outside that I can't get that grip. It doesn't have that roll anymore. Instead, the back end just wants to lose traction. Okay, so but it's not that bad. Okay, it's really not. I'm not losing traction every corner. Okay, obviously it's matching the fast lap of my race car and the consistent lap times. So it's good right now, but I want it better. Okay, which is I need to work on that. Something about the rear end. So the front spring, I have the blue. Ride height is 1.9 measured here in the front. The rear end is also 1.9 measured here. I'm running Kyosho. Not Kyosho. This is PN ball diff version 2. For now, I'm running that for now. I'm going to replace that with Kyosho. I did lower down the front end to 2 degrees, coming from 4 degrees setup that I had last year, which I also ran yesterday. I had it at 4 degrees. Is when I was hitting the fast lap. I toned it down a little bit. I used the MWX tool, like I said. I put it to 2 degrees toe out. I don't know how that's going to translate on the track. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's not better. But right before with the 4 degrees toe out, this car is super straight on the straightaway, and it doesn't feel lazy. Before this car, when you come out of the turn going straight, it doesn't go straight right away. It's so lazy to return back to center. The back end, I think it has something to do with the back end not returning to center. But now it's quick. It's straight. When I exit the corner, man, the car is just straight. It's pointing exactly where I wanted it to go. Okay, and the spring in the back, I have the red springs. I want it softer because, like I said, the back end keeps coming around on me. So I want it a little bit softer, and the droop is 0.2 in the back, and the droop in the front is 0.5. The ride height, oh yeah, I mentioned the ride height. It's 1.9, 1.9. The rear tires I have on here is Marka 5 radials. I'm not running Marka 5s on my car. I'm running Marka 15s. But I'm using the Marka 5 radials because I don't use that, and with the 2500 I can just use that instead of wasting my Marka 15s. Also for the 2500 I can run the Marka 10s, Marka 5, Marka 15s. I can run whatever tires, so I'm only running the tires that I don't usually use. So for my Reflex Racing 2500 I'm running Marka 5 slicks, and for this one I'm running Marka 5 radials. I also did try the Marka 5 slicks on this car. The time was the same, so there was actually no difference. The pinion is 13 tooth. That's 13 tooth. That's our spec. Spur is 53. Oh yeah, the diff balls on here is 5 pieces of the ceramic balls, which I think is wrong setup. That's probably why I'm losing traction. Like I said, I'm gonna put Kyosho on here with carbide balls, 10 pieces. That's the plan with this car. The front, I have +2 offset with KS 1042 that I did last year. Glued sidewalls, inside and outside. This is PN firms, okay? Now, my setup, I also run PN firms, but I don't glue them anymore. Look at this. Reflex, and then no more tires, and still dropping fast lap. That's my always ready car. I like that car. But anyway, so this one also 19mm wheels, +2 offset. Yeah, I guess I need to buy +2 offset wheels now for this car. This hits the servo, but I don't ever reach this point. I think it's only up to here, and it's doing a lot of steering already at that point, so I don't ever reach. My dual rate right now is at 50%, okay, and it's up to there, and it's a lot of steering. Yeah, so that's the car, and I'll give you guys more update on this after the change that I did. I do want to see if I can hit seven twos with this car. I should be able to once I figure out how to control the back end. If all the setup I did here didn't work or doesn't work, I'm gonna put a little bit of weight back here, maybe 2 to 3 grams of weight under the diff shaft with the lead weight. Okay, again, OBRC droop limiter and OBRC center pivot, the damper mount. Okay, I'll have the link in the description. Okay, thanks.